What's this Auburn team's mindset going into the second bye week, and how do we close out the season?
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Joining us for a few minutes here is Auburn quarterback Hank Brown. Hank, thank you so much for your time. As always, my friend. I mean, I can't imagine, the vibe on the sideline and just kind of the pictures and videos we've seen in the locker room afterwards. Like, this one seemed like a tough loss for you guys. I mean, what was it like from your perspective?
Yeah, it was very, very tough one. I feel like going into this game, the team, just both players and coaches had a lot of confidence coming off that Kentucky win away. And so, we felt like we were way more talented than Vandy. They're a good team and they play hard, but we felt like we were way more talented than them. And so to come out and do that, that one definitely stung, like you said, and the vibe on the sideline after the game was just honestly disappointment and frustration. And so that one definitely hurt. But, obviously, like you said, we got a bye week this week and we're going to get back to work and try our best to finish this season as strong as we can.
Yeah, the timing of this bye week is interesting now. Coming off of a tough loss. I mean, is this the type of thing where leadership steps up and say, hey, we can't let this loss beat us twice. We've got a great opportunity to get better this week and to close out the season strong. Is that kind of what's happened, or is it too soon to kind of see what has happened?
Yes, we saw a little bit of that after the game where leadership from more of the player-led leadership step up.
Yeah.
And that was really cool to see, kind of just, even though the guys were down when, we had one guy, Keldrick, Falk from defense, step up and talk to the team, and then Luke Deal from the offense talk to the team. And it's like, them being able to step up as leaders and coming from the players is different, So even though we were down, that was really encouraging, I think, for the team to hear that and just, kind of both their messages were finish this thing strong. And so, like you said, I think this is good timing. I've never been a part of a season that has two byes, but I think this is, so it's unique, but I think it's a great opportunity for us to just regroup and get better.
Yeah. So just you personally, like, what are your goals for this bye week now?
Yeah. So I'm going to dive into the weight room, because it's very interesting as a quarterback during the season, as far as lifting, because you don't want to go too hard, too close to the game, because then you don't want your arm to be too sore, specifically upper body, So this is a great opportunity for me to be able to go super hard this week in the weight room and not have to worry about, being sore for the game or obviously we'll practice this week, but and then also just a mechanical standpoint, just getting better and more consistent throughout practice. But I think as a young leader too, this is a great opportunity for me to just step up and just kind of rally these troops around me and the rest of this team.
Yeah. No doubt about it. So, Hank, just from an outside point of view, and you probably don't see it as much, and that's certainly a good thing, but there is a large chunk of the Auburn fan base that is questioning or maybe doubting, Hugh Freeze's ability as a head coach. But then I talked to several players and several recruits that are still bought into the vision that he's selling. Well, I assume you're in that boat. What is it about the vision of Hugh Freeze that is still so appealing to everybody in this locker room?
Yeah, like you said, it is unique on the aspect of, the outside perspective. Like you said, I don't see a ton of the outside perspective.
That's probably a good thing. Yeah.
Try my best to stay away from the outside perspective and just stay locked into what I'm with every day. And so obviously I'm fully bought into, what Coach Freeze is doing, and I still believe in it. And I think that, when he gets in his rhythm and he feels confident, he's a heck of a play caller. And I've seen that, because obviously I was committed to Liberty and I was able to see him do that there. And so I've seen him do it, and I believe that he still has that ability to do it. And just, what it comes down to is, I think, we're talking about all the different things that we can do as an offense to, you know, win these games or take that next step, and one thing that it really comes down to, and there's a lot of things, but if I had to boil it down to one, is we got to make plays. There's little plays throughout the season that you go back to and say, if our guy makes that play, that changes that game.
Totally.
And so, yes, there's little things that we need to fix here and there, and a lot of things we still need to grow in. But I think if I had to boil it down to one thing, I think that's what it comes down to. So
yeah, sure. I want to ask you specifically about like what that entails and how you can prep for that, Hank, because that's something that's come up on the podcast a lot. So that's coming up right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at 5 Hour Energy. 5 Hour Energy, they understand that fandom, it's not just a hobby, it's a way of life. And so they rolled out a new flavor just for hardcore college football fans like me, like yourself. The Stand the Fan 5 Hour Energy Shot, and the special flavor is Fan Fuel. And so it's made for super fans just like you. 5 Hour Energy knows that no matter what team you root for, being a fan requires heart, soul, and a whole lot of energy. So when you're prepping for that long game day to-do list, whether it's prepping a tailgate or making sure all the food's ready, or you're ironing your jersey, pop a 5 Hour Energy and try their new flavor, Fan Fuel. It's available at 5hourenergy.com. And of course, they ship nationwide. Hank Brown, Auburn quarterback, joining us for a few minutes here on this Monday edition of Locked On Auburn. Once again, thank you so much for your time. But that has been something, whether it's third down or whether it's, just kind of like, it's a tie football game in the second half. That has been something where I was like, okay, somebody step up and make a play. How do you simulate that in practice, Hank? Is that something you can prep for, or do you just kind of hope that over the course of the season you get enough chances in a game to where you learn how to do that?
Yeah, that's what's so unique about football is it's hard to simulate everything in practice.
Yeah.
And so the great players have that it factor to where it comes to the game and they make those plays no matter if they simulated it in practice or not.
Sure.
And so that's what I think. I think you can help yourself by prepping and, doing visualization tactics of visualizing yourself making those plays, or, putting yourself, we could do a good job of setting up those scenarios possibly in practice. But I think what it comes down to is just having that mentality and it factor to where, it doesn't matter what happens, I'm going to make that play in the game. And so I think that's what it boils down to. You can help yourself with prep, but yeah.
Yeah. So you've talked a lot about how close you and Peyton are, and y'all's relationship is pretty strong. So when the offense is having a hard time getting going on a Saturday, what is the conversation like between the two of you and maybe the offensive coaching staff on the sideline? I mean, are you kind of saying, hey, this is what I saw in this play? Or are you asking him questions? What does that look like?
Yeah, I try not to bombard him with questions during the game. I more so try and give him my input of what I'm seeing. And then also just encourage him and give him truth. One thing that I've learned this season is the idea of neutral thinking. And so, there's this whole idea of neutral thinking to where obviously statistics have proven that negatively thinking and speaking negative to yourself is obviously 100% of the time not going to help you.
Sure.
And then sometimes positive thinking is unrealistic, right? So neutral thinking is just speaking what is the fact, right? So if it was a rainy game, for example, when I was playing against New Mexico and it was raining, right? Positive thinking would be, this is awesome. I'm so happy it's raining, which is not the truth. I wish it wasn't raining. Negative thinking is, this sucks. this is awful. I hate the rain, which isn't going to help me at all. But neutral thinking is, okay, it's raining. That's the truth. I've thrown good in the rain before. That's the truth. And I'm going to go try my best to dominate in the rain. That's neutral thinking. So having this whole idea of neutral thinking is really good for me to encourage Peyton in what I see is the truth of what's going on in the game. And so I feel like I'm able to help instill confidence in him as he's going out there. Cause like you said, I'm close with him and I want the best for him.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Towards the end of the game, he kind of was doing, one of these, like moving his shoulder. Is his shoulder okay? Or when you see the guy in front of you doing that, do you ever think, oh my goodness, you already know that you're one play away at any given time with you being the backup. But I mean, was there any kind of like, oh, I need to make sure I'm loose just in case something happens with a shoulder?
Yes, sir. So they told me multiple times to get loose and get ready. And so, I was expecting to go in there, but he ended up being okay, which I was happy for him. But also, it's
Sure.
just that's what's hard about being the backup is obviously I never want Peyton to get hurt, and I want what's best for him.
Yeah.
But obviously, I want to get in there and play, and so it was a little frustrating not being able to go out there and play on Saturday.
Sure. So during this bye week, will you guys focus on you guys, or will you go ahead and look at whether it's ULM, who's the next team you guys play, or will you peek ahead to a Texas A&M or an Alabama? Like, what do you think the approach is going to be from the coaching staff this week?
Yeah, so obviously earlier in the season, we had a bye week and we did a little bit of both of focusing on ourselves, but also taking that extra week to focus on our next opponent. But with the situation we're in now, we're about to have meetings later today, so I'll know more on what specifically we're doing. But I'd imagine we'll take this week to start preparing for ULM, but also main focus I think will be on ourselves and how we can get better.
Yeah, sure. Man, the younger guys on this team, and nothing to take away from some of the older guys and the transfers who have played really well. But when you look at the guys in your class and you look at these freshmen that are playing on both sides of the football, I mean, it's got to be encouraging to say like, okay, like the future at Auburn appears to be exciting because the talent is here. Just guys need reps. I mean, that's got to be kind of cool. I mean, you're a part of that group. Is that something you guys talk about, or is it just kind of something that you don't really need to bring attention to it?
Yeah, it's definitely something we talk about because it's special, like you said. And I think, obviously, like you said, there's a ton of talent both in my class and obviously this freshman class. But one thing that I really love about both a lot of these talented younger guys is there's something different within them that college football is lacking now. And, it's so individualized, like we all talked about, where, I'm going to go play for this check or I'm playing for money,
Sure.
versus like a team. And like a lot of these young guys truly care about the team. And so that's really encouraging for me to just see their passion for their teammates and for, Auburn. So it's been really cool and just gives me a lot of hope for the future for sure.
Yeah, no question. Hank, thank you so much for your time as always, man, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.